but much like me and Broussard. But if someone outside of the family comes for Broussard on Twitter, I don't stand for it. So that's the type of thing. I like it a lot.
That's right. Thank you.
You know, what do you charge the person on Twitter? All right.
Exactly.
What do we got here? Oh, Russell Westbrook's got a strained quad. This is not good at all. Needs to be reevaluated before the playoffs start. Nick, Rockets Thunder playoff matchup will be blank.
Franchise defining, unfortunately, potentially for Houston. And Broussard, you people might not know this, but once upon a time, Broussard was a pretty well-respected hip-hop MC, rapper, if you will. And so, to quote a line, it was all good just a week ago. Man, just a week ago, Houston looked like the team that was going to benefit from the bubble the most. Harden rested, Russ playing great, a very legitimate chance at the 3 seed if they can just beat the Pacers and the Spurs. They get a matchup with the Clippers, which they wanted in round 2. They move up and get the Jazz in round 1. Then they rest Harden and they lose a winnable game. Then Russ gets hurt. They lose another game. Now they're the 4 seed. They have a tough matchup with an incredibly clutch OKC team. And for my friend Daryl Morey, you trade Chris Paul and 4 first-round picks for Russ in part because Chris Paul breaks down at the end of years. And now you're playing him, and Russ might be broken down, and Chris Paul's playing great, 3rd on the most valid MVP ballots you're going to find. And so I just, it causes anxiety for me as someone who has some love for some people in Houston. And I just think this is a massively important first-round series, Broussard.
Well, look, Nick went too far. Franchise changing. I mean, we know what the Rockets are. And even if they survive this round, they were going out in the 2nd round anyway, regardless of which LA team they meet. So I wouldn't go that far. I know it's important because Daryl Morey did throw everything to get Russell Westbrook, and now it may not work out or it won't work out. But I'm going to go with the word delicious because Nick went through some of the storylines. I mean, you got Chris Paul against James Harden. We know they had their issues in Houston. Now it looks like Russell Westbrook could be out. I think OKC has a great chance to beat Houston. They were 2-1 against the Rockets with Harden and Westbrook playing in the 2 losses. They've got a perimeter with Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Dennis Schroeder, my pick for 6th man of the year, that can match up with the Rockets' small ball. Oh, this has major upset potential. And if the Rockets survive and Russ can come back, then they get Knicks Lakers. That's also delicious.
Okay, delicious. Not calling a playoff matchup delicious. Hey, Sixers Celtics playoff series. Embiid in, Simmons out. Brad Stevens got an extension. Sixers won the regular season matchup. Nick, Celtics Sixers playoff series will be blank.
Quickly, part 2 of my little-known fact about Chris Broussard's hip-hop career. Delicious was actually also his name, his MC name when he was rapping. All right, Celtics-Sixers first-round playoff matchup will be bad for Philly. Listen, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Philly, 3-1 against Boston in the regular season. We have seen Brad Stevens go up against the Brett Brown in the playoffs before. It doesn't typically go well. Embiid came back from an injury, then hurt his hand. He's out again. I think Philly would have had a far greater chance if they had been able to move up a line and play either Indiana or Miami in round 1, and then you'll see what happens in round 2 against Milwaukee. Now I think Broussard, they're going to lose to Boston in the first round. It's going to be all bad for Philly.
That's right.
Well, first things first, I was never called delicious. I won't tell you what my name was, but it certainly wasn't delicious. But look, this could be, I should have went with franchise changing in this one. I went with deja vu because 2 years ago, Boston eliminated Philly in 5. I don't think this will be 5, but Philly will get ousted.
Is that supposed to be a Saved by the Bell type thing? White Sox left fielder Eloy Jimenez crashes. He takes a little, relaxation on the netting here. Nick, I want you to stay with this.
Here's the thing.
I'm not giving my take on how hammocks are totally overrated. Watch it. A fan One fan. What a hero gets into the game. That's the real highlight of it. He's like, hey, fan. Fan's like, hey, I got into the game. Attendance one.
The other takeaway is this. He's running way too slow to fall into the net. He's in like a slow jog and then almost catapults himself into the net.
Look at the fan.
But the fan, you're right. How did he get there? I want an investigation on that.
Ticket cost $2 million. One-handed catch. Preston Williams, back at knee injury last year. Looking good, left-handed catch. Reels one in. Too bad Devin McCourty would have intercepted it week 1 in Foxborough. Coming up in 31 days, but still a good catch. I don't know if threw it. I don't know if this was a to-it throw. Nick, I spent a lot of time trying to analyze the spin of the ball. Couldn't figure it out, but take your best guess.
Well, it's definitely not a to-it throw because you can see it's coming from a right-handed quarterback. So instead of analyzing the spin of the ball, Wilds, you should have been seeing the arm of that was throwing it. Broussard, folks of your generation always say these catches are because of the gloves. You never want to give the young folks credit. They always say, oh, it's the gloves, it's the gloves, it's the gloves. So I assume that's what you're going to do here.
Exactly. I mean, come on. We see 10 of these every week. This is not impressive. Stop bragging like it's something special. I'm seeing junior high kids do this. Come on.
Broussard, there's a crowd. Broussard needs to yell at next.
What do we got here? You know what? I don't want this information in my brain, but I actually knew this. I said, and it's good fodder for Nick's radio show. Klay Thompson's dog name's Rocco. We put it in the rundown. I was like, oh, Rocco? I'm like, why do I know that? I could be investing in stocks and I could understand my 401k, but instead I know that Klay Thompson's dog's name is Rocco. In sports news, a week away from the lottery, Warriors still have number 1. Nick, are you more interested in the lottery pick or Rocco's pull-ups?
In this draft, I think I'm more interested in Rocco's pull-ups, Broussard. Of all the drafts for the Warriors to potentially be able to reload with, this ain't the one. If you're talking about James Wiseman or LaMelo Ball being the number 1 pick, it's just an off year for the draft lottery, at least to my eye.
Jeez, Wiseman.
Well, here's the thing, Nick. Remember, you could potentially trade that. Maybe you package him with Andrew Wiggins, the best fourth option in the league. But maybe you get something out of that. Also, look, I gotta be honest. I like Wiseman. I like Wiseman with him.
So do I. I don't know why he got it.
Yeah.
Here, Chris Paul. Bam. Duncan Robinson's like, what? It's like, yeah, I threw the ball off you. What are you gonna do about it? It's a normal basketball play. Give me that. Blammo. I didn't hit you. I hit you in the shoulder. I didn't hit you in the head. Not a big deal. Next thing you know, Jimmy's looking at it like, oh, good thing you didn't throw the ball at me. So then Jimmy gets the ball the next possession. Not the next possession. Thunder had the ball next. Here. Jimmy's like, all right, let me do this play. Blammo! Hit Chris Paul. After the game, he said, you're not going to throw the ball at my teammate like that. You mess with one of my guys, especially one of my shooters, you got to deal with me and everybody else. That's the thing. It's like, if you're not a shooter, if you're just a good rebounder, you're on your own. But mess with Duncan Robinson, who's plenty big and stick up for himself. Anyways, Broussard, did you like this out of Jimmy?
I did like that. That's what a teammate is for. And I think Chris respected that. Chris is feisty. He's tough. He respected it. He knows what it's about.
Yep. This is true. And I'm sure that at times Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson